Hi, my name is Chris Huber, and I'm an assistant professor of chemistry here at Doane University. Let me talk to you a little bit about the chemistry program at Doane. We are a 4-year Bachelor's of Science degree that focuses in on experiential learning. And I think that's really what sets Doane apart, and specifically the Doane Chemistry program apart. From the way we design our courses, to how we set up our classrooms, how we set up our labs, to the research program that we run here at Doane, we focus in on learning through experiences rather than learning through a textbook. Ultimately, we know that when you leave here, when you're trying to apply for jobs, when you're going to be applying for graduate schools or health program schools, you're going to be thinking about those experiences rather than thinking about learning from a textbook. It gives our students the ability to write letters of applications and go to actual experiences that they had rather than grades that they earned. It allows me as a professor to write really strong letters of recommendations for our students. And ultimately, when you just think back about your time here at Doane, you can think about those labs that you had or those particular lectures rather than just spending your time studying. So what does it mean to be focused on experiential learning? Well, it starts in this room, actually. We're in the general chemistry classroom here, but that's also a lab. And that's one of the neat things about Doane University is our general chemistry course is a lab classroom hybrid. And so rather than spending 3 hours in a classroom and 3 hours in a lab like you would at most institutions, you're going to be spending 3 1-hour and 45-minute sessions in this room. And it allows us to have a lot of flexibility as educators and as for you as learners to be able to mesh the lab and the classroom into one experience. So I can introduce a topic, and then we can have a lab on that topic. We could talk about the calculations the next day, and then go through those calculations for that lab the next day. We could have a whole lab period, a whole classroom period that's just lab. Or we can really work in on getting practice on how to solve certain problems. But the neat thing is that we can link the learning in the classroom to the learning in the lab, and that is something that's really hard to do. It's hard to make sure you're pulling the lessons out of the lab and applying it to the knowledge base that we're covering in the classroom. So beyond just your first year in the general chemistry classroom, we have cool experiences throughout our curriculum. In organic chemistry, you're going to be focusing in on how to synthesize different chemicals and proving that you actually synthesize those chemicals. So one of our classic labs is synthesizing acetylsalicylic acid. Sounds like a tongue twister, but it's actually aspirin. So you get to synthesize aspirin and then prove that you synthesize aspirin by taking NMR spectra and FTIR spectra and looking for those chemical groups that proves that you made what you said you made. When we go on to analytical chemistry, which is my area of expertise, we have labs that are set up based on real-world experiences. So analytical chemistry is all about trying to quantify how much of a certain chemical you have in a sample. One of my favorite labs that we do is a mock urine analysis. So I have made mock urine that has all the ingredients that in normal urine, but then we've added quinine to it. And quinine is a component that's added to narcotics that you will find in drug-laced urine. And so we go through how you're actually going to quantify how much quinine you have in that urine. It's going to really closely resemble to what you would do in a lab where you're running urine samples. But that's just one example of many of where our real-world centric labs are going to help you out moving forward. When we get to some of the advanced classes, I also teach instrumental analysis, where you're going to be learning how to use instruments, how they're set up. You actually get to build your own spectrometer. So you get to use circuit boards and resistors and wires and photodiodes to actually quantify how much of a blue dye we have in a certain solution. Our inorganic chemistry class is taught all through academic journals and papers, where you're actually learning the concepts from those papers rather than learning them through a normal textbook. This is an invaluable experience for our students because learning from an academic journal is not always easy, and it takes some time, but in the end, we're sending out students that are very strong in their literacy in terms of academia journals. So these are just some of the experiences in the classroom, in the labs, but one of the biggest, I think, advantages of coming to Doane is our research program. So at Doane, we require all of our graduating seniors to conduct a senior research project. In your junior year, you would find a mentor and a project to work on. You would come up with a proposal that you would write up, and then your senior year, you enact that proposal. You actually get to use all of the top-of-the-line equipment that we have here at Doane. We have a brand new NMR. We have a brand new fluorescence plate reader. We have a top-of-the-line NMR downstairs, a 400 megahertz NMR. I use a laser for my research, where we're trying to quantify how much carbon monoxide we have in blood samples. So we have these real-world applications for our research program that you can then use moving on. Employers love our research program because you are forced to master a certain technique, become a master of a certain subject area, and they believe that if you can master one technique or one subject area, you can master others, and they can train you. So our students can get great jobs in the state of Nebraska and elsewhere. If you're interested in graduate school, 50% of our graduates in the last 3 years have gone to top-of-the-line graduate schools. And with your year, at least 1 year of research experience, you are going to be set up to hit the ground running when you get to your graduate school. You understand what it means to do research. You understand the ups and, unfortunately, the downs of doing research. And you have the skills that you can be successful there, like our students are successful there right now. We have a good track record of getting students into dentistry schools, into pharmacy schools across the nation. We have a lot to offer here at Doane University. If you have any questions about the chemistry program here at Doane, about chemistry as a major in general, feel free to reach out to me. My email address was at the bottom of the screen, and I would love to hear from you. We can certainly set up meetings to talk more about what Doane has to offer for you.